What's going on, everybody? This Afro Think Tank. Today's video is going to be about respect in the black community and the African community, specifically in America with the African American community. There used to be a time where an old man and an old woman could walk around in his or her respective communities safely within their community, no matter what what local politics, whatever, no matter what the local youth were into, whether they were into gangs, whether they were into neighborhood beefs or whatever form of debauchery they were into. There was a code where you never disrespected your elders. You left the elders out of your drama. You gave them a certain level of base respect, and an elder woman or elder man could walk around at any time and know that not only were they getting that level of respect, they also were getting a level of protection and assistance, meaning no matter where they went, no matter what group of young boys and girls they walked by, if that elder needed assistance, those youth would immediately come to the aid of that elder out of pure respect, right? Or whatever debauchery the youth were doing, they would cease and desist in the presence of the elder because they had that much respect, But nowadays, it seems like we've lost that. Like this new generation, they don't have any respect for elders at all. They have zero respect. There's no code there. They're willing to disrespect elders. They don't listen to elders. The youth nowadays, they believe that they are grown to the point where they're equal to the elder, right? They don't value age or wisdom. They don't value longevity in life. They don't understand that to be an elder, you have to succeed in life. You have to make it. You have to survive. To get old is to survive, right? To make it to your final destination of a natural death, you have to succeed in life, one way or another. However you did it, you had to succeed. And there used to be a time where your reward for that success it's almost like a communal kingship, a communal queenship. You became that respected elder. Now, of course, I know that all elders don't deserve respect. Some of them are very evil. Some of them do the most evil things are done by elders. We know that, right? The most horrible decisions are made by mostly elders, right? Elders in power, and we do have to take that in consideration. But, these youth need to understand that one day, if they survive, one day, if they're successful enough to become old, they too will end up being that elder. They have to respect the future. They have to respect the fact that it's an inevitability if you succeed in life to become old. And at that point, you should have some sort of benefit. Your value as a wise individual, as a treasure to your community of wisdom and all sorts of stories that person can tell, and all sorts of tips and things like that, should be valued to a point to where no matter what, everything should stop when elders are around. A certain level of self-control needs to be utilized with the youth when it comes to elders. And if an elder say something to you, even if you don't agree with it, you're supposed to respect that moment, respect that time, respect that elder's willingness to say something to you. And even if you don't agree with it, you don't do anything to the elder. You don't cuss the elder out. You don't fight the elder. You don't attack the elder. And that's what these youth are doing. And they're making fun of these elders as if it's bad that they're old, as if getting old is some sort of is a sign of weakness. And that just goes to show how miseducated, misguided, and twisted our youth are nowadays. They have no idea what's waiting for them as they get older. Like, it's cool when they're they're teenagers. They think they're superhumans, right? They're getting their 20s. They're exploring the world. They think they're the grownest thing on the planet. But then when they hit 30, they decide that I'm a grown. What do they say? I'm a grown ass man. I'm a grown ass woman, right? right? So when they hit 30, they start to act like, oh yeah, I'm grown, I'm reaching these levels, right? And then that's when the kids start saying, oh, you old, and they start realizing that they are now starting to slide into a different demographic, themselves when they hit 30. By the time they get to 40, they're like, oh shoot, I'm 40. I'm like an adult. I'm like a full blown adult. And then you start to look at your life to see where you are at that point, at 40. And by the time you hit 50, you're supposed to be getting that respect. You done made it half a century. Then you realize that the 30-year-olds are acting like the 20-year-olds, and the 20-year-olds and below ain't got no respect for adults. And when you get older, you are frailer, you are weaker, and but you have that wisdom, to make up for it. And we're, as a community, supposed to utilize that. We're supposed to pass along the idea of respecting your elders, to a certain extent, obviously. You don't let nobody abuse you no matter how old you are. You don't let nobody disrespect you. But at the same time, that base level of respect in our community is something that we need to get back, because other countries have it. Other groups of people respect their elders, and that's a form of social discipline within the group that we need. Respect your elders, because one day you will be an elder and you will want respect. Just like a lot of these kids out here, they have no respect for their parents, no proper respect for their parents. But then when they become parents, they wonder why their child don't have respect for them, and then they complain about it. It's like, well, you never had respect for your parents. You didn't teach your kid how to have respect for parents. So now it's backfiring on you. So now your child don't have respect for you as a parent.
Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones. We are here. Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. Afro Think Tank, that's the brother's name. That's the YouTube channel. Breaking down this video talking about elders, specifically in the Black American community, are not being respected by the youth. And I agree with his overall point that we need to have more respect in our community, that it needs to be something that's taught. It needs to be something that's embedded into the youth. But if you were listening to the video like we were, he answered his own question at the end of the video, really. But I will say this. I, as an individual, personally, I'm not worried now or as I get older, because I'm 41 now. So I'm an OG to a lot of these cats. So I'm not worried now or in the future about the Jits not respecting me. And one of the reasons why I'm not worried about the Jits not respecting me is because I respect them. First and foremost, you got to give it to get it. I don't give a damn how old you are. You got to give it to get it. But also, he hit it at the end of the video before it cut off. We're dealing with a culture of people, our people. First of all, we already know that we're insane. We already know that we are passing down insane culture to our children. We already understand that. We see how the community has declined in values and morals, in family and community. We already see that. So who the hell is supposed to teach the kids respect if the older people are not showing them? The older people, most of the older people, they're not showing the young kids anything that should be respected, and they're not respecting the young kids, and they're not teaching the young kids how to be respectful. Disrespectful people don't teach people how to be respectful. Being old doesn't give you just a outright passage to respect. You have to give it to get it. You have to build it. And if our community, if people in our community are not building bridges with the youth, stop complaining about not being respected by them, right? If you, like, we already know that if you're 20 and under, you've been failed by the generations before you. Vastly failed by the generations before you. Yes, you have. We've said it here before, and we'll say it again. You've been failed mightily by the generations before you. And I don't think it's fair to wag our fingers at the children if we haven't taught them better en masse. Because yes, there are some children out there that know better, but their parents know better, and the community that they grew up in know better. But I just don't think it's fair to wag our fingers at the children when The children have come up in a insane decline culture of adults who still act like children themselves. So that's my opening little monologue. But make sure y'all hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. We right here on this YouTube channel on the Shows of James. So make sure y'all continue to support Professor Carlton Jones. Continue to support Patrick. Remember, we're being shadow banned now. So every day, come to this channel every day at 1 o'clock. It's gonna be a video for you every day at 1 o'clock. And if you come after 1 o'clock, it's gonna be a video. So I'm being shadow banned, but don't wait for the notifications. Understand, 1 o'clock, come to this channel. Tuesdays, we go live at 9 p.m. Saturdays, we go live at 3:30 p.m. Just remember that, and you will never miss a video. I'm always dropping content. Forget the shadow ban, and we can break through. All you got to do is go to the channel. When you open up that app, go to the channel and watch your video. We here. So, Pat, man, what you think about the gentleman's video? What are your overall thoughts on the lack of respect that the youth have for the elders and the climate that has been created by the elders, though?
I agree with his overall point. The youth don't have no respect for the elders. That part is well documented and prominently displayed. I think I disagree with just about everything else he said. Yeah, I'm playing it all back in my mind. Yeah, I think I disagree with just about everything else he said. Yeah. The time that he's referring to never existed. Never existed. And if you want to say, well, there was a time period where old people could walk down the street in their community and not be accosted, well, yeah, they can do that now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but I see old black people walking through neighborhoods all the time.
Me too.
And they're not getting beat up, tripped on, or stomped out. Like, that's just not happening. But if he's trying to make a general statement about, well, there was a time period where black elders, black old folk got respect just because they was old, that literally has never, like, one of the things we talk about, and it's so funny how we like make these statements and then gloss over other statements. We talk about how there's always a generation gap. There's always a communication gap between the generations that causes friction.
Yeah.
We also talk about how most black movements in America, in the modern age anyways, primarily speaking about the 60s, you know, like, these were a bunch of kids who were essentially rebelling against the advice of their elders. That is the civil rights movement at its core.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of teenagers rebelling against their elders. So, you know, you go even back further than that. Movements in the 60s, the 1860s and 70s, where youths rebelling against their elders, the people that were older than them. So we see this constant theme of friction between older generations, younger generations. The younger generation saying, screw you, I'm going to do what I want to do anyways. And then move up. We forget this whole we're not like our grandparents movement that kicked off in the 2010s. There were similar phrases and things being said in the 1960s and 70s. So there's also this time period of the mythical black elder who is unanimously respected and deified by it's never existed. To his other, but I get what he's saying. There was a period where it seemed like black kids, or there was more respect for black elders. Yeah. But I think even that is us looking back with rose-colored glasses.
Well, I do think we're looking back through our anecdotal lenses too, because there was like when I elementary, middle, or pre-K, elementary, middle school, high school. Yes, there was a different vibe within certain communities, but then you go a couple communities over and it's totally different. So it wasn't across the board like people like to make it out the scene.
But and I'm hyper focusing on him saying there was a time when you respected the elders sharing their wisdom and you moved accordingly. And I'm like, that never literally never existed. Not in the black community in America. Because the elders have been disagreeing with the movements of the youth for as far back as I've looked. And I've looked now in depth as far back as the 1600s in America. And that's pretty much as far back as you can go.
Yeah.
So it never existed. The other point he made, being old does not make you successful.
And that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But it doesn't. You're not going to be respected just because you're 50.
No, and you shouldn't be. But the thing is, like, all right, so being old doesn't make you successful. You can't say what he said and then look at our heroes. How many black heroes, how many of the black heroes that we celebrate, worship, and deify died of old age? How many of them actually did anything significant while they were old? We regularly hold up youth as something to be proud of, something to love, and we say it all the time. The kids on the college campuses are the ones that initiate change. That's deifying the youth. That is showing utmost respect for the. So you can't say that and then turn around and also say the ones that live the old age are the ones that we should listen to because they're the successful ones, while at the same time we're worshiping the younger people and their actions and activities and not even really looking into the philosophies and the wisdom that the old people might have to offer us. I can't tell you how many times I got into a group and asked people about some of the people that you guys know well. I watched PC do it in a number of different groups. I've watched you, Joe, do it in group conversations. How many of you have heard of X person? And everybody says nothing. Like, so
we don't even know our elders like that.
Yeah, so it's like you're even now, like that doesn't seem like a old man, right? That seems like a younger gentleman. Even now, he is trying to be a younger gentleman, espousing wisdom that should come from an elder. He's contradicting his own point with his video. So it's just it's and then his other point, last one, and then I'm gonna land so PC can cook up. This whole notion of we should do it because other people do it. That I'm sorry, that's not even a thing. Like that means absolutely nothing. So if other people didn't respect their elders, newsflash, a lot of them don't, especially if people you mean white people.
That's what I was about to say. Like, how do you know other people around the world respect their elders the way you have in your head? Like, how you know that? Right.
That's him. You got a few holes in your body. You're talking out the wrong one. I don't understand. So if we can prove to you that other communities don't respect their elders, does that make it okay for us to now not respect ours? Does that change your opinion? Because I can prove to you that other people don't. If that's the foundation of your argument, we need to respect our elders because other people do it. First off, you're not even serious about life. You're not even trying. You ain't put no thought into this. But second off, I can show you evidence, verified, approved from cultures all over the world where they don't respect their elders. If I showed that to you, would you change your mind? Because that's the argument you just presented.
I just have a problem with bagging on the youth and acting like we don't understand why they behave the way they behave. Because are we really gonna sit in front of a camera and talk like we don't understand how the community has declined over the years. Like for real.
But no, Joe, he doesn't, because he is one of said youths.
So don't make a video like that if you
But
don't have
Joe,
the whole perspective.
he can't, because he is one of said youths.
So he rebelling against himself, huh?
He don't even realize he contradicting himself.
I'm
He
just
probably
saying.
watched that video back and was like, "Oh yeah, I cooked with this one."
Nah, because it's like,
Joe, he couldn't even recognize the cause and effect that he presented at the end of the clip, which is young people don't respect elders because elders didn't respect their own elders when they were young people.
And that's the thing that blew my mind when I first went. That's what like, okay, we finna break this one down, because I'm like, are you listening to yourself, my brother? PC, man, jump on in here, man. What do you think about the Afro Think Tank? That's the brother's name. What do you think about this brother's thoughts and commentary on the lack of respect that our youth currently have for the elders?
Well, I'm listening to y'all. I mean, shit, I don't even know if there's anything more I need to add. I'm about to get back to these ribs over here. That's right.
Chicken last week, ribs this week.
But hey man, I'm taking us back in time, man. Listen, I'm taking us back. You see this rib almost going too. I'm taking us back, y'all. Anyway, as a beef rib. So y'all watched Spike Lee joints, you know. There's one in particular that comes to mind, and that's Do the Right Thing. And there's a scene in Do the Right Thing where Ozzie Davis is playing a character called the mayor. Now, in real life, he was married to Ruby Dee, so he's trying to holler at Ruby Dee all day as she leans outside of her window in the Brooklyn neighborhood. All right, something very common back in the day. People either sat on their porch. If they ain't have a porch, they sat on the stoop. They looked out the window up north. So one of the things that happened was a bunch of young people who were just wandering about, you know, pulled up on him. And the interaction between them, you know, spoke towards the disconnect in regards to intergenerational intergenerational conflict that occurred within the Black community. I think when the young brother was talking, I'm really going to get to that part, but I think maybe this is just giving them the benefit of the doubt, because a lot of these guys, young people nowadays, they have access to a mic, a camera, and their phone, and they just use it, and they just speak off the rip. They don't really think about the context in which is, or the type of discernment they should use before, you know, putting themselves out there. He really did contradict himself in regards to why it's not happening. They're not being taught respect. One of the things that, because I'm from a time where when there was contention, but there was a certain level, the animosity, the disregard wasn't as high as it is today. I get it. I'm from the generation where when somebody was drinking a malt liquor and an older person was walking down the street, or if they were smoking a joint, because I know many of y'all don't know this, but prior to blunts, people did use top paper and easy widers. So they would stick it behind they would hide it behind their backs as they approached, you know, someone who was older, someone who they had some respect for. They didn't want Miss Johnson to see them like blatantly did. Like Miss Johnson could tell you was smoking, but as long as it wasn't in your face, in her face, you know, you got to pass. You know what I'm saying? So I get that part. that part is missing. But I'm also of the same generation where the parents decided they were no longer going to be parents and they were going to be friends with their children. That they were going to spoil their children and give their children the lives they never had. And therefore, when there used to be a time, because I was in school where corporal punishment was legal. So if I got my hands cracked with the ruler at school, nobody came up to the school to chastise the teacher or want to fight the teacher. The question was, well, what did you do? And the parent and the teacher would have the conversation. Now, I'm not saying, right or wrong, but what I'm saying is it was already established that that was the community norm. In other words, and we can have block parties back then. Block parties, nobody paid attention to who ate off whose grill, as long as everybody got fed. The block had a good time. People from other blocks, neighboring blocks would come to your block. And then when they had a block party, you go to their blocks. In other words, we had a village. Okay. Now, I heard what Pat was talking about in terms of like the historical pushback in terms of revolutionary circles, that fight or flight circles. But let's be clear about something too. That was a very small percentage of the Black community that decided to engage in that. You know what I'm saying? The majority of Black folk called them troublemakers. The elders called them troublemakers. Like the rest of the community called. Dr. King and Malcolm X were both labeled with the same label. They were considered troublemakers. So when we examine that part and that aspect of it, yeah, the disconnect was real. When I was allowed to go into high schools and have these conversations with young Black children, young Black students, and it was a multicultural classroom, but I was only focused on the Black students. One of the things I would do is I would start off with the apology. And I might have said the apology on here before, but for those of you who didn't see it, I'll rehash it. I apologized to the generation that we were now facing for not terraforming the world that was best suited for them to succeed, or preparing them to deal with the world as it is. In other words, we dropped the ball. If you want to point to somebody and blame it, call us generational absentee parents, absentee aunties, absentee uncles, absentee grandparents. Or
do this. If
right.
you're going to point the finger, do this.
Right. So if you want to reestablish the culture, because you're speaking to a culture that lived on the fringes, because at that same time now that the brothers was hiding the joints and things, we still had prostitution, all pimps. We still had all that going on and everybody saw it. We still had the arrival of the crack cocaine era in the mid 80s, which changed the entire landscape. Something nobody really gives credit to in terms of the amount of decimation that is taking place in the Black community. We talked about it a few weeks ago. We talked about the chemical warfare that takes place on a daily basis, and because it's quiet and because it's serene, nobody talks about the amount of fluoride or the amount of lead toxicity that's in the drinking water. And then even then, when you have the conversation, two educated Negroes, I almost used the other word, two educated Negroes want to contest you talking about the necessity for fluoride, to the point where they say, I took fluoride tablets. And I said, that's probably why your pineal gland is calcified down. And you can't even conceive the types of damage, even though there's independent studies out there that show that fluoride does not improve the integrity of your teeth. It, in fact, destroys the bone density within your whole body because it devoids the body of calcium. But that's neither here nor there, right? The point of the matter is the Black community in itself has always been under siege. So for it to be debilitated to this degree, you know, you have to act, and he's right. People our age want to act young. People our age want to wear pants sagging off their ass. People, listen, Vivica Fox went and got a BBL at age 60. Come on, man. You know, so many people don't want to actually hold up an image that these young people can respect. And not only that, how many of y'all are terrified of the children you brought into the world? How can I, a stranger, approach your child, but you can't? And I'm talking to the women and the men. And they can be on the corner about to do some wilding out type stuff. There's plenty of times sometimes I was on the phone with y'all. And I'm talking to groups of young brothers and down the way, or not even in my neighborhood. One time I wandered in the Q Butter studio, Zyx up in Brooklyn on St. Mark's. There was a room full of Crips and Bloods in there. We just started busting it up. So it's on us. And the change comes from us. And young brother, I've never seen you kind. A lot of people Joe bring here, I've only seen for the first time. I only saw Charlie Kirk for the first time here because I don't really go looking for it. But young brother, I'm just going to say this to you. Stop trying to be the spark that changed the world through gaslighting people, and be the fire. What did Gandhi say? I don't like Gandhi because Gandhi ain't like black people, but I do agree with one quote he said. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Perhaps others will follow. With that, I land my plane.
Look here, man. Once again, stop doing this. Older people, stop doing this and start doing this. I mean, we the three of us all work with young people. We worked with young people for a while. The three of us have all also worked with the adults. And the three of us can attest that I would rather work with the youth than the adults, because the adults are really the ones who don't give a damn at the end of the day, but love to complain about the behavior of the youth. So we out here just hunching and having kids and not raising them properly, and then mad at their behavior. You don't discipline the kids. You don't structure the kids. The kids don't grow up in an environment that's structured by the adults. You just out here just hunching, and you have a child.
Well, hold on, Joe. You just named it. These children are unplanned. These children most of these children are products of a good time.
I'm just saying.
You know, one good feeling, a good orgasm, and these children are brought into the world as embryos. That's probably one of the biggest problems, is the fact that we don't want to hold anybody accountable for the wild and untamable sex culture that exists in our community. You got rappers out there selling lip glosses disguised as STDs, and this is common. And you know what you'll hear people say? Well, that's my girl. I like Sexy Red, but I'm gonna tell you wrong. And I listen to your music, but I'm gonna tell you I can't rock with this. Well, why are you listening to the music if it's putting out a damaging message that your children might take in? It's like us saying, yeah, man, when Future put out that song about, you know, all those different particular drugs and stuff, I like Future, that's my guy, but you know, we got to be careful about the content, the content that we allow our children to digest. Like, you a hypocrite.
I hear grown women explaining and defending why they listen to Sexy Red, Glorilla, Cardi B, and all that stuff. And then on the other side, grown men, like somebody, I was listening to something, and the grown man, it was a bunch of grown men 30 and up, asking them some crazy question between like Young Thug and all these other stuff. But not only that, but grown men and grown women dress like young kids. Like, I be damn if I'm a grown ass man walking out the house dressing like it's still 1990, and then
Right.
complaining about the kids.
But that's why I said this young man need to shut the hell up because he don't know what he talking about. Because there's a deification of youth in the community. Everybody is afraid to get old. Well, if I'm afraid to get old, I'm not gonna show respect to the people that are there.
There's no respect to be showed because no foundation of respect was set.
So I'm not even moving in that type of energy. And then we run into, like, here's the real problem, in my opinion. The old people that we now have are the generation that may disrespect the common tongue for the common black person. So how do you create a new common tongue when disrespect is fun at this point?
And I can do it, and I can do it to you because I'm older than you, so I can just disrespect you. And you're supposed to shut up and take it because that's what good young kids do.
There's a video out right now on YouTube of this old black lady who everybody calls, that's my favorite. She's like, I don't know what they call her because I don't know what her name is, but all throughout the comments, thousands, tens of thousands of comments, probably hundreds of thousands of comments over the course of all her videos. They call her Black America's grandma. And all she does is all she is an older black woman. She's passed now, but she would get on the internet. Somebody would record her.
I remember that.
I don't know if it was staged or not, but somebody would record her and post it on the internet, her misunderstanding something that was said to her and flipping out and showing layers and levels of disrespect. Who the you talking to? You got the wrong mother. And they all like, don't I love Spicy Grandma. That's my black grandma. I miss her dearly. Like, disrespect is the language of love for the black community.
Man, I put a short out of a video that went viral not too long ago. This older lady just straight dog cussing this young man at Walmart because she was wrong and she didn't understand and she didn't want to admit that she was wrong. And you see things like that. Think about how many videos you scroll on social media, and this is no matter the race. Adults don't care if their kids cuss in front of them, F word, B word, all these things in front of them. Like your child is just cussing everybody out in front of you, and you're gonna film it and put it on social media. How are they supposed to behave? A group of undisciplined people had babies. How are they supposed to behave?
I've seen that in person. I don't need to see it on the internet. I see that out in public.
Me too.
And you better not say nothing to them about that, because who are you to tell them how to raise their child? Even though sooner or later they're going to let that child in the house when he gets of age or she gets of age. And I had a thought a few seconds ago. Hopefully it comes back to me. But I think that the fact that you got all these people willing to call these young cats YNs speaks to the derelict culture, because that's something we shouldn't accept.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we shouldn't accept that. Are you kidding me?
And it's us that's doing it. It's the old folk, the wannabe elders, the old folk who are calling them YNs. Why?
No,
why would you want to call our young black men young? Why?
Well, we don't want to be elders. We just want to grow older.
Right.
For the most part. And we hope that somebody becomes an elder statesman. Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
No. You good, because you're right. We don't want to be elders. We don't even really want to grow older. We just don't want to die.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you can tell because
when you look at Maxine Waters, right?
That's what I was actually going to bring up. Thank you for bringing it up.
Her and Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, and the WAP thing. And then look at how the elders are the people that I would truly call elders. Look at how they're responded to when they do try to speak up. Look at what happened to Ndire when she made comments about a particular black award show. Look at what they did to Felissa Rashad.
Yeah. Oh,
it's all out of sorts.
Yeah. Can't nobody that had 3 divorces tell me anything about the way I should be wearing or dressing. It was just really, it's really callous. And you talk about the generations of disrespect, and it also comes in making things toxic. Everything toxic is cool, or people bragging about, terrible characteristics like being petty. Oh, I'm petty. Don't make me do something I'm petty. And everybody gets a kick out of it. But that's one of the things that's deteriorating what was left, what fabric is left of a potential society, a culture of people. And like I said before, man, we love because the vibration of it is a standard that's so low, you don't really have to do much to surpass, to become it. There's no expectation of manhood in shit. There's no expectation of virtuous women in only thing that's the expectation is that you're going to do some ratchet, you're going to do some wild, crash out. Those are the only real expectations. You're going to be violent and out of control. As a young male, you're going to be overly emotional and move with visceral violence towards anybody who you feel as though disrespects you. And even if it's not disrespect, you just got to take it as such. As the young women, I don't even talk to young women, period. Only because no matter what I do, there's a horde of women and other kinds of men, males, that will jump down my throat for trying to, be the elder that I'm supposed to be. And just not only my community, but and definitely not in the workplace. Are you crazy?
But well, we at our limit.
Okay.
They make it easy for editing. 41 round the 40. There's a way to interact with the youth to have them respect you. Well, first of all, they have to know you give a damn. Show up and show out for the youth. Because people make it seem like they just walk up to the older people and just blatantly just disrespect. You might have some mavericks who do that, but in general, they don't do that. But if you're interacting with the young kids, I've been interacting with youth that have been told that I've been told that these were the worst of the worst at these facilities. They put me in these environments with their youth. Like I've been in plenty juvenile detention facilities. You put me in a juvenile detention facility, they get all the ones that's the worst ones. They put us in this little cafeteria auditorium thing, and they always give me this warning. Hey, these are the worst of the worst. I know they don't really want to be here, but if you have any troubles, go ahead and let us know. We're going to step outside real quick, yada, 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 yada. When they come back, everything cool. This is the quietest they've ever been. What did you do? Talk to them like they're human. I treated them like they're human. I respected them. Old people are supposed to show respect. You're supposed to be old enough to know to show respect, to get respect. Teach them by your actions. How about that? Instead of finger wagging, teach them by your actions.
But old people nowadays don't know how to be respectful, which is what we go back to.
That's the problem.
Here's the deal, because I work with youth too. I'm not walking around trying to get on their level. That's one thing I don't do. And I think that's a misinterpretation of meeting somebody where they're at. I ain't sagging my pants. I'm not walking around, and I know it's cliche, but y'all get what I'm saying. And the newest J's and all. I'm not trying to dress like them. I'm not trying to look like them.
Bruh.
I'm not trying to talk like them. If I am using the slang they use, I'm using it in an intentional way so that they be like, I don't even want to say it no more.
Yeah.
Which is what I ended up doing with YN. Because I refuse to give them the respect of calling themselves YN. I know they think it's respect. To me, it's disrespectful. I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to allow you to call yourself a YN around me. So I'm going to find a way to say it and present it in a way that where you understand exactly how disgusting and disrespectful that is. And you just be like, all right, Mr. Patrick, I'm good. But more importantly, I'm going to be authentic. You're going to want to come up to where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the young boys I end up working with, over time, they end up dressing like me, not the other way around. They end up speaking like me, not the other way around. They end up trying to elevate to where they think I am, not the other way around. But that comes from me understanding what respect is and how to give it in a way that fits with who I am and in a way that fits with what they can receive. And that's a level of self-awareness and social nuance that most people don't have. And that's just something else we got to be honest about.
Right.
Well, I think that more so than anything else, we command respect. And we command respect by the way we present ourselves. And because of that, our interactions are different. Because I too used to go to the juvenile justice centers, the JJC here in Philly. And I noticed something too. The children ain't the problem. We would go to those meetings and cats that were like, some cats that were like former reformed gangsters and this, that, and the other, they couldn't they couldn't wait to share those gangster stories with the young people to try to connect with them. And that would be the biggest obstacle in terms of like relating to the young people, relating to those young brothers, is the fact that you got some peacock out here who is clamoring for the attention of his glory days.
Yep.
And so, it's like when all these people are coming out with tell-all books about their lifestyles, this, that, and the other. I'm doing this so the youth don't make the same mistakes I did. Bull.
Right.
You don't talk about it
reading your book.
Well, you don't talk about it in a regretful tone. You don't talk about it in a remorseful tone. You don't talk about it like you took a serious loss. You sit there like Frank Lucas. I came back to 116th Street and business came back to me. You don't talk about it from the perspective of I did this and lost everything. Like you don't start there. Yes, I did that, and the other, but I lost everything. Need y'all to understand the things that really mattered to me. If I could trade it for today for tomorrow, I wouldn't have done none of those things because of what I lost. I lost my brother, and I can just tell you from my experience, I lost family to the street, like blood. You know what I'm saying? I've lost close friends to the street, to the life. I don't want nobody to go down the path that they went down. I'm not saying I'm the end all be all, but what I did was I survived those streets to tell the young people the stories that will make them understand the cost of going down the path that they're currently going on. But more importantly, and I know this to be true, they're looking for us.
Yeah.
They're looking for us. And they find you. You don't have to go far, they find you. I remember this. It was a young brother in the corner Chinese store several years ago. This is prior to 2000, like maybe 2019. And this young brother was in the store literally telling the story about how he just beat somebody up and they tried to run and he was able to rip their pants off through their pockets or whatever, like rip their clothes or whatever when he's trying to run from them, right? But then like 2 minutes later, the conversation switched. And then he started talking to them about, y'all need to come to the track with me and train. I be in the ring, I'm boxing, I'm trying to get in shape, but y'all out here smoking and everything. Y'all need to come to the track with me. And I said to the young brother, now see, based on that first story, nobody would have ever believed that second story came from you. And he turned around, looked at me, kind of like, okay. Now that was pretty much the end of that, right? I'm back at that same store 2 weeks later. Now I'm down the way, so you always got to watch your back. But he comes and I hear somebody across the street, yo, hey, yo. I turn around like, okay, what's going on here? Same young brother ran up to me, gave me a handshake. Hey, man, I just want to let you know I see you. A few months later is when they started having the uprisings and the die-ins and all that stuff. Well, I didn't agree with it. I happened to be downtown Philadelphia trying to shoot some B-roll for the Independence Day Project too. Who I see walking down the street, I see my nephew, my oldest nephew. I would chase him down and I asked him what they're doing out there. And he's like, we're out here doing our part. Okay, that's what's up. Everybody got to go about it their way. But then guess who taps you on the shoulder? That same kid. I didn't even know he knew my nephew. But he wanted to make sure I saw him. They're waiting for us. That's why I'm working on the Jegna chain right now. Because they're waiting for us. And I'm gonna take it away from everybody else and just put the mantle of masculinity and manhood squarely on Black men. Because I ask the question all the time. When did you become a man and who taught you how to become a man? And invariably, the first question is always answered sometime later in life due to some tragic event or overcoming some circumstances. Mm-hmm. But the second question, they always say, well, be honest with you, I'm really teaching myself how to be a man.
No, you ain't learning nothing.
Well, we don't have a blueprint for Black manhood. We don't have rites of passage. Right. And so very few communities even celebrate them anymore.
But that's the thing. But we have the nerve to get up on the soapbox and wave the finger. Be better examples every day in real life. We can't be the ones. And I'm not saying the brother's doing nothing because I don't know what he's doing. But I know there are a lot of old people. And I'm saying myself old too. So y'all don't get offended. We all old. There's a lot of old people who ain't doing nothing out here. And then always want to talk about what the youth got going on. Won't you get your ass out your house and go do something with them?
Oh, they terrified, yeah. But we got too many warrior scholars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Look, this is because y'all are being gentle and uplifting, and don't nobody want to hear that shit. These. I'm gonna say it because I could tell from the way he was sitting on that bench. He ain't do nothing before he cut that video on. He ain't do nothing after he cut it off. He's still wearing a mask. Black people don't wear masks. So I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I don't like his message. I don't like what he stands for. It don't matter that I don't know what he stands for. I don't like it. And PC, you brought up a great point. All of those Black folk writing those memoirs, talking about they want you. First off, no young person is reading your memoir. We all know that. How many memoirs did you, author, read from other people when you were young? How many memoirs have you read now? I should write a book about my life. Why? Because it's been interesting. Yeah, for you.
Flogging though, man. Just stop flogging, man. Let's stop.
Nah, it don't. You ain't like, at least you don't even know your audience. Who reads memoirs? Not the people that you're writing it for. So let's start there. Like, you're not, nobody's really. I have never had to share my story to gain the respect of a young person. It's never happened. Now, we do get to a point where they ask me about my story, or I'll see an opportunity for me to connect with the young person by sharing a bit of my story. But I have never had to share my story to gain respect out the gate. If you opening up talking to young people by sharing your story, you probably already wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We could start there. You're probably there. You go. I'm being uplifting too. I'm giving you hope. You sorry saps. I'm giving y'all hope. You're doing it wrong, and this brother is doing it wrong too. Who are you waving your finger at? Because I can't even tell. You waving it at everybody. So who do you want to listen? What do you want to happen different? What's supposed to be different? We watched the video. Oh my God, he dropped such great jewels. Wow, mind blown. Now what? What happens next?
Everybody's gonna be in the comment like that's deep.
Yeah, but man, forget all. But that's why we here, to tear it all apart. Shut all that up. Get your ass in the community and do something. The kids don't. Nothing we're saying. I look at my statistics. Young kids don't watch this channel. I recognize young kids don't watch this channel. So guess what? I go to them, get out the house and go to them. I created something where I can reach the youth in my community. It's not that hard to be a human and get active and start complaining. Like it's not difficult.
It is.
I'm looking at the brother YouTube channel now.
Well, we have. Yeah, go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
We have standing on the porch syndrome. What does that mean? Or screaming out the window syndrome. It means we see a disabled child in the street or a child that's incapacitated in the middle of the street. We see traffic coming, and the first thing we do is yell, somebody do something.
Yeah.
But we never envision ourselves being the somebody that actually does something. It doesn't take a lot. The old African proverb, many hands make light work. It's not hard to invest. There's some people that out here that have skills. You want some of these young cats to start moving a different direction, offer them different opportunities. You want to change and improve the culture, start being okay with being chastised. Start shaming and universal shaming, because it's never a problem shaming black men. Somebody's out there right now calling us sassy. So be open to calling everybody out for what it is. You know, the culture needs to bring back universal shame, universal taboos, things that are not okay. Back in the day, if you were a teenager and you got pregnant up north, you disappeared for about 10 months. When you came back with a new little brother, a new little sister, because of how much shame it brought your family. Now it's something to be celebrated and be made proud of. But then, you know, we talk about the declining two-parent households in the black community. Well,
I wonder why.
But what are we planning for? We don't plan for nothing, but we don't plan for the weekend.
Hunching.
And to be honest, we plan for Friday and Saturday, Sundays for recuperating for the next week.
And unplanned pregnancies.
Well, listen, we don't even plan on having safe sex. So, and the answer won't be, the answer should be being responsible about having sex. You know, virtues like virginity were cherished. Till this day, you still see some people out there who value that type of modesty and limited access that makes their access to you special. You can't have a generation that all of a sudden knows the rules when nobody taught you the rules.
Right.
So you don't know the rules. How you going to have children and impose rules upon them, standards upon them, for which you never learned, you never mastered, you never was coached in. You was never coached in. You don't have elders. You have a bunch of olders. You have a bunch of people out here who want to live on the fringes, who don't want to be accountable or responsible for any of the damage or the carnage that it causes generations to come. And sometimes you have to wonder if the lost nature of those generations, the cumulative effect is the fact that it's reached escape velocity and we have to wait for it to decimate and we have to start over from the ashes. Because at this point, I don't know where you go. There's too many protectors of derelict culture. They have guardians for there are people who will challenge you to a duel over this stuff. So, you know.
Man, look.
I'm gonna
People
say this.
go ahead.
I'm gonna say this. I know both of you guys know better. What? No, what? No, everybody get the smoke. Y'all keep saying it's easy. It's not hard to take action. I disagree.
It ain't if
I
you give a
disagree.
damn.
No, it's the most difficult thing to do is start moving when you ain't moving.
Because you don't give a damn.
Nah, even if you do give a damn, changing state is the most hardest, the most difficult thing to do for a piece of matter.
Okay.
It's
Well, don't say nothing until you decide you want to do something different.
but that's still a changing state, Joe. Because they talking. You asking them to shut up. That's one change of state. And then you asking them to move. You asking them to do 2 change of states.
You're not helping.
They know that. They don't
Just
care
shut
about
up.
help. No, see, you refusing to accept what is, Joe.
And they refusing to shut up.
They can't, Joe.
Button and put a I know what you said, but put a clothespin, safety pin through your lips. But no, and I get what you're saying, but it's like you're not helping. You're literally just you're doing the same thing everybody else does. You're talking at them.
Well,
you
but
want them to respect you.
We got to define helping.
Yeah. I think
because
go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, PC.
I'm not going to finish your point.
They are helping. They're just helping themselves. They're relieving their own stress and their own pressure valves.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the biggest downfalls of social media. I think the same amount of people are still active workers in the community. I've met them. I see them. I see people who are interested in community building. I know people who have community farms, not just gardens, but farms. I know people who are, sort of like the leaders of their village, their tribe. I know them. But I think the problem is access to unsolicited attention. Like before, the only times you would hear critique would be the opinion section of a newspaper and the letter to the editor. You wouldn't see a bunch of people who could just have access to the World Wide Web, where internationally, the second they click send, the second they go live, that people all around the world can see them. And so for many people, we used to have town halls. We used to have block meetings. But now with social media, if I can just come on Facebook or come on Instagram or come on, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, and express my opinion and get feedback, have a creative feedback loop there, then there's no need for me to go out into the community to spend this energy, to spend this, there's no need for me to join something, especially when we attribute the attention for social currency, which currently right now is at an all-time high. I don't even think people care if they get paid anymore. They're just looking at likes and views. So
right.
The market got saturated with too many people who can gather attention about their opinions, and opinions are like an asshole. I know you gotta write that down. Everybody has one, and once in a while they really stink. More times than not.
It's a lot of
stink. They stink. Hey, they stink. And And I think that too many people can come to platforms and literally, because their whole goal is not necessarily for social change. Their whole goal is to go viral, to have their viral moment.
Of course.
So, like Pat said, they help, but they help themselves. They have no interest in real social change, because if you get the social change you claim you're clamoring for, now all of a sudden people no longer need to come to you for that message, because the world has already changed. So with that, I land my plane. Don't forget to check the chain, y'all. Yeah. September 11th, October 11th, Community College, Philadelphia. Pull up at 8:30. And our workshop will either be in the morning session, the evening session. They're still sorting that out.
Hey, what we've been doing ain't working, but you keep doing it. Everybody want to be the elder that drops the gems on the youth to get them to change. That doesn't work. It's never worked. Do something. I get what you're saying, Pat. They can't do nothing, and they're not gonna shut up. I get it. I want to throw something at those people. I do. I do want to throw something at you. I do. I'm not even gonna lie, because you're making it worse. But if we want the youth to have more respect for the elders, be a respectful elder who teaches your children and others how to be respectful. Pass down respectful culture. Be better. Hey, man, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. Stop talking junk about people that if you ain't gonna help them, right? FedLifeStation.com, make sure you check it out. If you don't, then you support the MAGA people. If you don't, go to FedLifeStation.com, thepax.org, check it out. A lot of good information over there. A lot of good information for you and your family to learn together, to help you learn more respect. OnTheShoulders1.com, another website you can go to learn about some respect.
Joe, I think you might want to roll that one back. A lot of black folks support the MAGA people.
I know. That's why we know. They know who they are. They know who they are. That's why we ain't got no respect. That's why we ain't got no respect. Though, one of the reasons.
I'm just saying. All right.
MAGA supporters and Joe Biden supporters, same thing. But hey, we crazy. We're insane people complaining about insane behavior that we keep passing down. Then Neely Fuller told us we was insane. Dr. Joy DeGruy told us we had post-traumatic slave syndrome. When are we gonna listen and learn and do better? Probably never, but Well, for those who want it, we got it for you. That's how we do it. Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones. Y'all continue to support them too. Links to support them is in the description. You can join this channel as a member. Be like Pat and PC. Join the channel as a member. Get down and support this and be part of this On the Social Giants family as we grow this thing as we go. Hey, 2 fingers in the air like a player, man. We holler at y'all on the other side. Happy Friday.